Hello and welcome to my loft, and should I also say welcome to 1961 August on a Saturday morning at around 11 o'clock ish. We can tell because the freight is running, and of course a Saturday morning back in the 1960s was a normal working morning and the freight is running. But also you will find there are a lot of Mark I coaches, and of course August was a holiday season, and the blood and custard printed and cream livery, they had been phased out by 1960, but for August, what is interesting, the coaches had been left in sidings ready for the August rush, of which everybody was going on holiday to Butlins, etc. Up next is a Deltic Class 55, 1961. Summer they were introduced, and they ran on the Mainline till 1982. This here is a British Rail Standard Class 6, Clan Class, introduced in 1952, and they were phased out from 1962 to 1966, pulling blood and custard Mark I coaches, which I think are the prettiest coaches. This is a Class 45 Peak, introduced in 1960, phased out 1981 to 89. Up next we have the British Rail Standard Class 8, the Duke, introduced in 1954 and taken off in 1962. Up next is the Tornado. Of course, this is a modern loco, peppercorn A1, but it looks as part. Up next is we have iron tippler wagons, introduced in the 1950s to the 1980s. Fowler 4F, introduced in 1924 and withdrawn between 1959 and 64. This is the British Standard Class 9, 1954, and were phased out between 1964 and 1968. And being pulled are mostly 16-ton steel mineral wagons, which were introduced in 1951 until 1970. A peppercorn A2 Pacific, introduced from 1947 and withdrawn till 1966, pulling van-wide wagons. Here we have a British Rail Standard Class 5, introduced in 1951 and withdrawn in 1968. A Class 105, introduced in 1956 and amazingly ran until 1988. These are my engine sheds. Actually, many of these engines are not in working order. Various ones have got repairs needed. Many of these I have been donated, but actually don't run at all well. Now the Bakerloo line, they had a top speed of 45 miles an hour. That's a little fast. This is 38 stock, They ran till 1988. You can see I've installed some lights in the cab and the headlights. These are EFE underground trained, and you have to modify them, and I've put 4 motors in the first 2 coaches. And on the Isle of Wight they were running till 1921, which is quite incredible, crawling up the hill, up the gradient. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again in 2 weeks' time. Bye.